On this episode of A Soul's Quest podcast, Omar and I are discussing the ASQ Way and life as an experience. Stay tuned. How are you?
Woo! Good. How are you? Yeah?
A little bit.
A little bit.
It's some prep to get this thing going, huh?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah, take a sip of your wine.
yeah. You know,
Let me do that too.
You know.
Okay, now we can get into business.
Exactly, yeah. So it's
Are you comfortable?
No, yeah, I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, ready to get started.
Good. I am too. So we've taken a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
Little bit of a break, which I think is good. It's good to sort of step away for a little while and get refocused and refreshed and take a little break.
And like most people don't know, but we record a lot of things in batches, right? So in the meantime, while we're recording batches, editing batches, or edit as much as I can, as quickly as I can. In
the times when we're not recording, yes.
Yeah, in the times that we're not recording. So we do have to take some breaks sometimes because there's a lot of stuff that goes into, And the cool thing about what this experience has taught me is that it is somewhat of a quest because there's so much thought process.
It is a quest.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
This is our quest. What are you talking about?
This is our quest.
Right.
To express what we want to express. And it just takes a little bit of time. So, but here we are.
And on that note,
what are we doing today? What are we talking
today?
about?
We're talking about the ASQ Way and life as an experience.
Yes.
And so just to start this conversation, I know that most of the time when people are in their daily lives in situations, people tend to look at things in black and white, in absolutes. They don't, it's this way or that way, and that's it. And we're sort of rigid in our thought processes and the way that we handle things in situations that we encounter, right?
Yeah, I want to say something so bad right now.
Go ahead.
Only a Sith Lord thinks in absolutes. Just I had to throw in that Star Wars reference, but it's true. But go ahead. To your point.
Right. But now I have to get focused again.
Yeah.
So anyways, cool. we tend to look at things in black and white and we're very rigid about things, I mean, I know for me, sometimes it's either this or that. That's it. You know what I mean? And we sort of tend to forget that life is complicated and filled with unexpected nuances, right? And you just can't help that, right? Because that is life. Life just happens, right?
Correct,
and it's something, as we've talked about in the past, we're not in control of those things, but I think that we want to be, and that's where, for me at least, the control part comes in the absolutes and the rigidness and the black and white, So, yeah.
So, well, one of the things that I've learned as we began to do these different things is, and I've always had the grayish mentality, not looking at things in black and white. One of my nicknames was Cop Out.
Cop Out.
Yeah, because I didn't. I see that side, but I also see that side.
Okay.
So
you're pretty good about that. You like to see both sides or whatever.
Correct. Yeah, because there's a lot of
in the middle too.
In the gray, because life is not always. Yes, we do the best that we can to systemize it and to understand it and to
it makes more sense for us. It helps us to make sense of things when we do that, right?
Correct. Yeah, because we have to be able to make sense of our existence in the world. So we need to be able to categorize things and be able to do this stuff. But one of the books that I'm reading right now, that I've read and in this quest to come up with these different topics and the things that we talked about, is Erik Erikson's work on the life cycles.
Okay.
Right. And one of the things that stood out for me, and because one of the things that we talked about was the different the transitions in life and the experiences that we confront in life. And when we're transitioning and we're interacting with other people, in life itself, in nature, you see it when two things of opposite things collide, that would be categorized as a conflict, right?
Okay.
So our existence in our world is based on all those different types of conflicts.
Okay.
How do we manage those conflicts? It's really what gives meaning to life, and to look at those opportunities as things that propel us, But everything that really the bottom line is that life is in constant, collision with one another. Ideas collide with one another. People collide with one another.
Right.
Organisms in our bodies are in constant conflict with one another.
Yeah.
And this is really a reality of life. Like we cannot escape conflict.
Right.
So the idea is to not try to avoid it, but to engage in it.
Okay. So then on that note, a soul's quest, our mission, a soul's quest mission, we are a soul's quest, right?
Correct.
Our mission is to help guide individuals through the conflicts of life.
That's it.
So what do we do with that? How does that work?
Well, the reason why we hold interviews, right? And I'm very interested in people's lives. It's always intrigues me to see the progression of people's lives as they go through, through the different cycles, through the different stages of life. That intrigues me.
And how they handle the issues and stuff that come up and arise.
Exactly.
Okay.
That always intrigues me. And one of the things that I found based on the interviews that we've done so far and my interactions with other people, what intrigues me is that there's a lot of common denominators. And I said this before, but that's one thing that intrigues me. The history of human beings and the history of our modern civilization could be said that is completely and utterly based on stories. Storytelling has always been there. The experiences of individuals in their quest have been made into art, made into metaphorical experiences. Movies nowadays, movies are all depictions of the monomyth, the hero monomyth. That's what a story is. That is the things that is worth telling. But there are common denominators in all those things that apply, in my opinion, to every single individual if they are aware of it and if they are conscious of that. But if you're not, you'll go through life thinking, "Oh my God, what is this happening to me? Oh my God, this is so horrible. Why,
this doesn't happen to anybody else."
It doesn't happen. And the reality is that by us understanding each other's stories, understanding the common denominators, and understanding that life is about conflict, it gives us a psychological advantage to be able to deal with situations. The other thing is that one of the things about the ASQ Way, and we're going to talk about that right now, it's really a filtration device of how to look at life in a certain way. Okay, I explained. Like traditionally, we look at life either to the lenses of our religion, to the lenses of our culture, to relation of our society. So we look at through those filters, and we've gotten away so much as looking at life through the filter of what life is really like, and the nature of life, and what happens in nature and what happens in life. We don't look at life from that standpoint. And it's my opinion that if we start looking at life from those points of views, it becomes better. So the ASQ Way is our interpretation on what a lot of people have said in the past or have attempted to say in the past. But it is our interpretation of it, and our interpretation of trying to simplify it and make it appealing to a certain group of people that the message will resonate with. So that's the point behind that.
Okay. So you've introduced the ASQ Way.
Yeah.
That's coined by Omar.
Well, somewhat, yeah.
So can you just dive a little bit more deeply about what how do you use the ASQ Way? What is it? How do we apply it practically in our life?
Mm-hmm. So I wrote this journal entry one time about religion, right? And what I feel that religion, what has become or what it is a psychological competitive advantage, right? The fact that you have an all-powerful being that is always looking after you is one of the strongest psychological advantages that we have, because it allows us to go into situations and not feel as afraid and as uncertain, right? But now that religion has beginning to lose its way,
and what do you mean by that, losing its way?
I don't.
I would say there are people out there that probably disagree with you. A lot of people probably feel like when I lose my way, I reach out to my creator, whatever that is, whoever that is, and my way is found again.
Yeah.
He puts me or she puts me on the right path.
I think that in our modern world, in our super technological, and I don't know, but it is my opinion that people don't believe as much as they do. What they're looking for, it's more of a competitive advantage, and you can see it, for instance, like, I see it more as that. Look at the conflicts that we're dealing with. Look at all the stuff, all the separation. I don't think that people believe as much as they used to. And I think that for better or worse, and we will do a topic particularly on religions, but for better or worse, it makes us doubt. It makes us question everything that we know about ourselves. So the attempt is of the ASQ Way is to give us a roadmap that even if you don't believe in those things anymore, you're beginning to doubt those things. There are ways in which you could look at the world, still make sense of it. It may not be what you want to hear, but I've looked and I feel that this particular way is a way that, based on readings from a lot of different people, giants, people that have written extensively on this, and experiences, particularly experiences from ourselves and from other people, that I think that is relevant to talk about.
So talk to me about the ASQ Way.
Sure.
What is that? Are there steps? Is there like a rule book? What is that?
I kind of like try to simplify it. I hate doing like the 5 steps to this, 5 steps to that. But
we don't hate doing that because that's what we write our blogs on.
Yeah, inevitably. I didn't like doing that because I like to have like stimulate people.
I think people really love that.
But I understand marketing and understanding marketing. You need to understand and I'm just flushing everything out, the way that the person's mind works. The one's 5 things. Give me a 1, 2, 3 ways to kind of like do this. So I had a process. So, and I think that because we're trained to think in that way.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of like conform.
You did.
To that idea of coming up with steps. And I spent a month or so kind of like figuring out, okay, what is this and how can I simplify it at least into 5 different steps, right?
So the ASQ Way.
The ASQ Way. So the first thing is life is an experience, okay? And life is dangerous.
Very.
Right? Yeah. Life is
When you say dangerous, you mean dangerous in what way? Can
life
you just
is dangerous, period. Being alive is dangerous, right? Because, why? Because at any moment, something could happen that could take the life away, right? When you're interacting with other individuals, with other human beings, you don't know what their intent is, what exactly what they want, right? So that proposition in and of itself is dangerous. At the foundation of human, right, it is survival. So even though we have progressed a lot, we're still animals deep down inside.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, definitely. Okay. So I understand what you mean.
So life is a dangerous proposition. You could go outside right now in the day and in the date and the present time that we live in. People get shot just to go outside.
It's out of our.
A good time.
It's out of our control.
And exactly. So that's the next part. So this is dangerous. It's dangerous because we can't control it 100%. And it doesn't matter how hard we try. We saw within the last 2 years how a virus, right, completely transformed the way that we lived.
Yeah, and the way that we think, the way that we behave.
Could any of us have control that?
No.
No.
out of our control. Well, some people might say we could have controlled it, but we're not going to get into all that here.
I don't care what anybody says, and I don't care how smart we are. Nature, life, like they say in Jurassic World, will always find a way. Always finds a way. And we are so accustomed to have everything be so great. But one of the things that we know is that we're always, the things that happen to us that are catastrophic always sneak up on us. We never see it coming.
Right.
They always sneak in.
Yeah.
Cancer sneaks in. Diseases sneak in. Nobody wants to, and nobody wants to go through that, and nobody is trying to manifest it. Right. But somehow, life sneaks in and throws everything off.
Yeah.
But we have to accept that it's not something to try to run away from it. You know, it's not something to be afraid of. It's an affirmation of life. Right?
Yeah.
That's the thing that and again, it's not just us. You know, the Buddha said all life is suffering. If you look at nature itself, there is a competition constantly for life and to continue life and to do those things. I think that we, I remember a friend of mine's had a girlfriend that was going to be a doctor, but she doesn't want anything to do with nature. She wants to live in a sterile place, you know. And I'm like, that's not a good idea. You also need microbes in your body. You know, you need to be exposed to nature. We're not separate from it. We're a part of it. You know, so when you look at life and you look at the things and the stages the things that life puts us through, you know, that's why
that forces us to go through.
And so then when we go through that, we curse it. You know, getting older, we curse it.
And that's why I said forces, because you know, things happen to us and, you know, say medically speaking, something you're diagnosed with something that could be at some point in your life debilitating. Like, for example, somebody might be diagnosed with Parkinson's. Yes, my mom has Parkinson's. And so she was diagnosed with this when she was a little bit younger. And it's altered her life. And she really oftentimes will struggle with it, because she'll say things like, why me? Why is this happening to me?
Exactly.
And rather than, and I'm not saying it's easy to do this, but rather than, because I'm going to say this and I know I might have somebody going, duh, who would want that?
Yeah.
You don't have a choice.
It happens.
So how can you make the best out of that particular situation? That is, it's devastating. It changes not only that individual's life, but it changes the lives of people around that person. And so to be able to, I say accept it gracefully. That's a strong, those are bad words that I can't think, I'm lacking words, but I'm just saying, accepting that this is where I am. I'm here. This is it. This is what I have. What can I do to maximize my situation and make it the best for me? And so we try to help her with that. And oftentimes she still sees more of the negative side than the positives. And
not to minimize the feelings, the emotions that come from the powerlessness.
Of course.
Because it is all about losing our power.
You're depending on other people. And that's just that situation. Because not every situation you're doing that. You're not losing your power when, another situation happens. You know, you don't get accepted into some grad school or a program. I mean, things happen. So it's not the end of the world, right?
It's an experience,
and that's what you're saying.
Find something else, and to simplify it a little bit more, right? Just to kind of like, just because this is the first point of 5, so we want to touch on that. Let's talk about life as an experience, as a quest, right? So as we transition from young dependent individuals to young adults who are more self-reliant, who are looking to establish a pattern, even that transition is an experience. Most people's questions right now in the world is like, what is my purpose in life?
Yeah.
Well, your purpose in life is to experience it.
Yeah.
You know, to experience finding the things that make you feel alive.
Yeah.
You know, to this idea of purpose is like, you know, I thought my purpose was to be a youth development professional for the rest of my life. Other people decided that wasn't my case.
Right.
And what am I supposed to do? I learned a lot from that experience. I learned a lot about human nature. I learned about the sincerity of human beings, to be more cautious, to be more aware. But that doesn't mean that my life stops.
No, not at all.
Right?
No.
Because that particular purpose or that particular, again, looking at it as an experience.
Right.
Rather than, because if the purpose doesn't fulfill itself, then what are you?
Right.
Then there's emptiness. Then there's a void. Right?
Right.
So,
well, I think for some people, though, some people would argue that's what I wanted for my life.
Exactly.
And now it's gone.
It's gone.
And they have no way of figuring out, or they can't wrap their heads around figuring out, okay, now I have to do something else with my life. What is that going to be?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And that's the thing.
That's a hard
harsh.
transition.
But again, that's because we're looking at life as an absolute.
Right.
Either or.
Right. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Either or. So the second thing, and I think that is really key, is the uniqueness of the individual and the focus on the individual's quest. Right.
Okay.
One of the things, this is a line that I'm going to be a quote that I'm going to use constantly because I think it is so beautiful. It's Carl Sagan. We are a way for the universe to know itself. And that uniqueness of who we are as individuals, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing, right? And I've seen the horrors that idealisms and perceptions of power or status or class has on the beauty and the uniqueness that an individual brings into a situation. There's no two people in the world that will look at the same thing and experience it in the same way.
No.
Oh, there isn't.
Right.
And that is not something to be, to say right or wrong. But I'm curious to see, why do you see the world in that particular way? Right? But because there is a certain uniqueness about us.
Which is why we do the interviews, is because you want to experience that. Yeah.
They are common denominators, but your perception, your uniqueness, and the way that you are as part of a collective, as part of a society, it's unique. Societies don't work without good individuals. Without individuals, it just doesn't work. Our bodies don't work without individual cells, without individual atoms. It just doesn't work. So that uniqueness is something that is important to maintain. And then in particular, the unique adventure of your life is so important. You know, you and I are married. We've been married for 21 years. We've been together for 21 years. We've been married for 17. And our life experience, even together, it's not the same.
Right. No, not at all.
Not at all.
We see things differently.
We see things completely different.
And some things we see the same, but I think we both still, even in the things that we see the same, I think that we see things, there are elements of that situation that we see differently.
But our individual experience, our individual quest, and our collective quest they feel greater. Because we understand that we both are unique individuals and we both want different things. Right. We want different things out of what we want. So there should be a big emphasis, and this is one of the things that I want, is really the importance of the individual and the importance of the individual quest, the uniqueness of the individual. And I think I want to emphasize on that because I work with young people, and sometimes they don't believe in their uniqueness. You know, they're by themselves to the opinions of others, or they sell themselves cheap for the opinions of others. And then I see adults sell themselves to the highest bidder, and disregarding the uniqueness. And I've seen so many groups of people that, because some of them think that they know everything, disregard what other people that have unique ideas and unique powers could bring to the table.
Definitely.
You know, so and it's a squander of talent and universal potential. So that's the second one. Okay. The third part that I think that is important, right? Because we talked about the randomness of life, right? And life as an experience, the uniqueness of the individual and the importance of the quest. And then we can't forget that we live in a society and an ecosystem, right? So we are also a part of a social structure, right? Yeah. And we are also part of a natural structure,
right?
and there are responsibilities and give and takes that comes to that. And there's an awareness that needs to comes to that. And as unique individuals in a place and a time with other unique individuals, it is inevitable that there will be conflicts, right? It's inevitable because as a unique person seeing the world and experiencing the world in the same exact way against another person, you're bound not to agree.
Right.
Right?
Of course, because you see things differently.
Exactly.
We disagree on this stuff all the time.
All the time.
But we agree a lot too in
Of
a
course.
situation. We can be in one situation and it could be dinner, and we both have the same pasta and it wasn't so great. Oh, I thought it was delicious, yum, yum, yum. So
the thing,
I mean, it's a simple analogy, but it's
And here goes the thing, because I find it comical, right? Because you see how separating our world has become. And if you talk to those individuals about what they want for themselves, they will tell you, I want my freedom. I want the flexibility to live my life the way that I would like to live my life. I don't want to be subjugated by somebody else. People will tell you the same things that they want.
right. I don't want to be under control.
Don't want to be under control. Don't want to be under.
I want to do my own thing.
Exactly, right? But we have so much conflict because we like to tell others how they should live their lives. And we would like to tell others how they should accept me, right? Regardless.
So that leads into your number 4.
Exactly. It is that conflict.
Perfectly, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So conflicts of the individual, both internally and against society, right? So we do have a lot of internal conflicts.
I was going to say, what's the internal? Like
we talked about Jung. We talk about the subconscious. We talk about the things that are internal inside of us. We talked about our social conditioning. We talked about the things that are put into our heads as part of our creating our social contracts and the way that we are, the religious instruction that we receive, the educational instruction that we receive, because those things, they're not bad in and of themselves. They're given to us because we need to be a part of a society. Right.
And you have to follow some sort of...
And we all have... in order for a society to work, we all have to agree at least on certain common things that we all must follow.
Right.
And we could still be unique individuals.
Right.
We could still be unique individuals, but there are common things that as a society we all need to follow. That the conflicts happen, and there are conflicts that I think are very necessary. But there are conflicts that I think that need to be conversated and they need to be addressed, but in a way in which, again, you can say, okay, I see your point of view, and I see, okay,
respectfully,
let's find out what the middle is.
Right.
What I see right now more than anything is, no, I want it my way, and that's it.
And if you're not going to do it my way, I don't want anything to do with you or whatever.
This is Anakin Skywalker telling Obi-Wan Kenobi, if you're not with me, then you're against me.
Right.
This
should be the Star Wars episode.
No, but again, that episode.
No, it's really good because that's exactly what happened. He was like, if you're not with me, then you're against me. And that's how we are as humans with each other. Yes. Well, I've heard that in an organization that I worked for.
Correct.
Where the person said, if you don't like it, pack your things and go. That's just what it is. And that's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
We have thoughts, we have opinions, we have things that we feel a certain way about this.
Yes.
But it wasn't even offered to us to even engage in that conversation. It was, if you don't like it, you can take your things and go.
Exactly.
And this person was very firm in their belief of that. And that's an absolute. Yes or no? Absolute. You're with me or you're against me. That's it right there.
Yeah.
So I understand what you mean by that.
And those things is that, again, people look at the word conflict as something that has a negative connotation to it, right? Yeah. It connotes that there's something negative about to happen, right? Confrontation, same thing. There's a negative connotation to it. Why? Why does it have to be that?
Well, I think that's the way people have used the word.
Right? It's like you could have disagreements. You could not see things in the same way, right? This is problem solving 101. This is brainstorming 101. You come up with a lot of different ideas, and then you start negotiating as to, okay, this is the best way. This is this is not going to work for these people. This is not going to work. Okay, where do we find the common ground for the society to move along,
so you can progress
in a way that is beneficial, not to just certain individuals or for everybody.
Right.
You know, it's like I said in an episode before when we went to Asheville. This lady had the sign that says "Eat the rich," you know, which I found kind of ridiculous. I wouldn't consider myself a rich person or a wealthy person or anyone like that, but everybody in a society has roles, and there are people that are very, very ambitious that sometimes take it to a place that is really not good for society. But also, if you look at the opposite side of the coin, ambition and the drive for power has gotten us where we are right now, right? We could eradicate a virus in 2 years, which we couldn't do before, and minimize the death. We could safely travel from one city to another.
From one continent to another.
From one continent to another. For most people, at least in the modern world, in the Western advanced world, first world, quote unquote, we could do that as long as we're safe. Now, are there things in which there are predatory tendencies to those people that are very ambitious? Absolutely. But it's not to deny that will to propel others. You know, not on the other side. There's people that don't want to do anything.
Right.
They just want to, they just want to be, quote unquote, parasites. They just want to be taken care of. They want to floss and they want to do their stuff. They don't want to do anything. Those two observations are two different groups, in my opinion, are objective. There's truth to a poor person just wanting to take and not do anything, and a poor person also wanting to, I don't want this life anymore. I want to move forward. And they're super ambitious. I want to progress and take what's mine. But there's the other one that says, I want what's mine and also what's everybody else's.
Right.
All those exist.
Yeah, they do.
You know, so the idea is to really be cognizant of these realities of life. They're not falsehoods.
Right.
They're realities.
Right.
You know, the final thing really is a life has meaning. A life only has meaning within a certain space and time. Right?
Okay. Explain.
Explain. So our life right now has meaning in the here and the now.
Okay.
Right now.
Okay.
Right? If we choose to not do this podcast, right? There's this. Okay, let me just kind of like say that. There's this line in Shakespeare in Love Shakespeare in Love. I love that line, right? He talks about love knows nothing of rank or river bank. It falls around the vagabond who plays the king and the queen who plays the king, and their love should be minded by each. For love denied blights the soul we owe to God. Holy shit, I love that line. For love denied blights the soul we owe to God, right? In the here and now, we are unique manifestations of the universe. In the here and now. And if we deny that, we blight the soul we owe to God.
That's
so
deep.
That's like it's a powerful
it is.
It's a powerful thing. So in the here and now, we have a choice. And again, it's like I'm not exempt from feeling depressed, feeling defeated, feeling the sense of lost, feeling the sense of frustration, anger, having the sense of revenge.
So you're a human.
I'm a human being, and I feel all those things, and
Right.
I've experienced all those things, right? Because it's an experience. So the question is, okay, what did I choose to do with all that?
Right.
Here we are, right? I'm creating something.
Right.
Because it came from here and I wanted this experience. Right. Yeah. Now, I can't compose a song like some artists do. I can't code like some other people could code. You know, I can't do all this type of things.
Can't?
I cannot.
No, you can't.
No, it's not going to interest me. But in the here
it doesn't interest you. No, because I was going to say you could.
Yeah.
Just don't want to do it.
It doesn't interest
me.
Okay.
That's why I was asking.
Here and now, because this is the thing.
This is where you are right now.
This is where I am right now. That this is what I would like to do.
Right.
You know, we have the opportunity to do that. At what scale? Doesn't fucking matter. Stop comparing ourselves to what other people are doing. It's like, try to focus on what you want. And try to focus on the things that you feel that it's going to have. If you want to measure yourself as to where you are now to where you would like to be. What is it that you would like to complete?
Right.
You know, but we give our uniqueness away.
Right.
Through marketing schemes.
Right.
You know, and the idea of wanting to fit into the latest trend. You know, but you give your uniqueness away. You know, all the women look exactly the same nowadays. Fake booties, fake boobies, you know, and we call that beautiful, you know, but it's true. It's like, you know, so you start doing things to make yourself feel unique. And by the end of it
alter not only your physical, but also your mental
and
faculties.
At the end of the whole thing, you end up looking like everybody else.
And acting like everybody else.
And what you're doing is robbing everybody.
Yeah. Of something that you have. You're unique. Yeah.
That is you.
Yeah. That's like a gift. And I don't think that people see that those are gifts that people have. I've been trying really, really hard to focus on when I see somebody that does something that's quirky and even in some ways annoying. Within reason. I'm not, if somebody's eating with their mouth open, I'm going to be like, really?
Yeah.
But I mean, there are certain things that people do. And I try really hard to look at, you know what, this person does that because they care. Yeah. This is an individual who's doing this and they're doing that because they care. They want to do this because this is what comes from within them. And this is what makes them feel good. And so, and that's them. That's their uniqueness. And if you start to point out those things as fallacies or things that's a problem or whatever, then I think we rob other individuals of that too. So we have to be mindful and self-aware of that.
You know what's funny? And I found this a person I was talking about this, right? And a person brought in the statement. Well, under that premise, a child molester could do whatever they want. A murderer could do whatever they want. And I'm like, no, you're missing the point, right? Because again, the third thing that I says is that we are individuals and we live as part of a social structure, you know, and that means you don't violate the rights of other people,
right?
You know, but to say that people are not unique, right? To say that if you decide to dig a ditch, or you decide to be, you know, you like to work in labor, right? I saw some guys today working on a sprinkler system. They're just having a good old time. But people will look down at them. I'm like, ugh, laborers. You know? But they were so happy. They were joking around with each other. I was joking around with them. You know, but that's unique because I can't do that shit. I don't know how to do it.
Right.
But we look down on ditch diggers. Sorry, we look down on construction workers as lesser than. They're a part of our social structure.
I understand what you mean.
You know, without them, we wouldn't live in places like we live.
That's true.
You know, so everything has a place and everything is important. And there's uniqueness in the individual. That's why I say don't compare yourself to others because your uniqueness, as insignificant as it might be, is important in the entire scheme of what it is that we do and not what it is that we are as individual. And you're just as important in the ecosystem as the person on top. And vice versa. Everybody has a part to play in this big drama that is life.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. So We talked about the ASQ way, and to sort of just summarize, and because we can't talk forever and ever and ever.
Absolutely.
To summarize what we've gone through, I just want to kind of summarize the steps of the ASQ way.
Yeah.
Those are, life is an experience. It's unpredictable, mostly out of our control. Anything else?
And the idea is to accept it. Okay. Not to run away.
Right.
Accept that life is an experience. It has ups. It has downs. It crunches us. It opens us. It makes us feel weak. It makes us feel strong. It's to experience all that.
Right.
And still be able to say, there's beauty in this.
Right.
Because there is.
Right. Okay. Number 2, the uniqueness of the individual and the importance of the individual's quest. That's important. We just talked about that.
Yes. People, you do the numbers. There's like 1 million spermatozoids trying to find this one egg, and out of all those spermatozoids, one egg gets fertilized by one sperm, and then you are here, and then it's like in the multitude of all this chaos, all these atoms and all these things colliding, and all the chances out of billions and billions of probabilities. Here you are.
Yeah.
Here
pretty
we
unique.
are.
Pretty unique.
It is it is a miracle, to say the least, as to how what are the chances that we are where we are right now in this moment in time.
That's true. That's good. I like that one. Okay. So number 3, the individual as part of the social structure.
Yes. We don't live in isolation as much as we think that we are.
Or we want to.
Or we want to as introverts or whatever. We don't live in isolation. We interact with individuals. We interact with our ecosystem. We interact with nature. I said social, but it's also ecological.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We don't live in isolation. And as much as we would like to say that we are separate or we could live apart from nature, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because we can't live without it.
Yeah, we can't.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we can't live without each other either.
True. Right. We need other people.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The conflicts of the individual, both internally and against society.
It is inevitable. Life is about conflict. Okay. Again, it doesn't have to be a negative connotation to it, but life is about a conflict of ideas, interacting concepts, interacting organisms, that either mesh or repel from one another. Yeah. This is a part of life. Accept it, realize it, and don't look at it as something that is going to be the end of you.
Right. Okay. And finally, a life's meaning within space and time.
Yes, our life only have a meaning within the here and now, in the present, in this time frame that we were thrown into. Yeah. This is where our life has a meaning. This is where our life has a purpose, regardless of what it is that you're doing. The problem is whether or not we choose to realize that. And that's why I always conclude most of our episodes with realize all this stuff we talked about. But ultimately, the choice is yours.
We're so proud of this video and hope you enjoy it. Leave a comment below and remember to stay connected by subscribing and sharing.